Welcome back to Mind Matters. I'm Mcjaylord your host. Today, we are diving into the fascinating world of existentialism, and we've got fantastic panel of experts to help us navigate those big questions. Joining me is Miss Jasmine Glory, a leading thinker in this field, Mr. Ivan Dave Faustino, a fascinating educator who brought existentialism into their classroom, and Miss Arline Bahas, a student who's experienced this exploration of these ideas firsthand. So, what are we waiting for? Let's start! So, Miss Jasmine, let's start with the basic. So, what is existentialism and why it is important, or why should we care about it?
I, Jasmine is our glory, your philosopher guest for today. Thank you so much for that, Mr. MC. And today I will going to explain the existentialism. Three categories. So for the first one, of course, it is the freedom of choice. So for freedom of choice, it is something that we can choose really for what we want in our life. But on the other hand, uh, there's something that we cannot control. So, for example, you are playing a video game, and then suddenly you have to make a choice. And that making a choice is part of the rules of that game. So, that is the realism of freedom of choice. So, for the second one, it is the responsibility. So, making a responsible of making a choice in order for us to find the meaning and the purpose for our life. So, in short, there is no instructional manual for making a choice wisely. For the last one, the third one is the search of the meaning. So for the search of the meaning, of course, it is not that easy for us to search. Sorry for that. It is not easy for us to search the meaning for our life. So for example, uh, I I already find the purpose and the meaning of my life when I was this age, but for some other people, they found it earlier than me. And then for the others, is very early, something like that. So it is not really easy for us to find the purpose and the meaning in our life. And then that's
Wow, thank you, Miss Jasmine. That's a great way to put it. So, we have this freedom, but we're also responsible for making the most of it. It's like we're the authors of our own stories, right? And the search for meaning, that's what makes life so fascinating and challenging. Now, Miss Arline, can you share with us your personal example of situation or time when you felt this freedom of choice in your life?
Okay. So a personal example of feeling the freedom of choice in my life was when I decided to pursue my dream career, which is to become a teacher, that truly aligned with my passion. So instead of following the more traditional path that was expected of me to become a lawyer, I choose to become or to follow my dream career, which is being an educator in future. Um, I remember feeling a mix of excitement and fear as I shifted my focus, but it was incredibly liberating to know that I was making decisions for my own happiness and growth. And I think, or no, the moment of choosing my path was defining one for me as it gave me a sense of empowerment.
Wow, that's really interesting, Miss Arline. I'm sure lots of viewers can relate to that. Now, Mr. Ivan, did you hear that? That's a powerful idea. Now, sir, how do you bring this concept to your classroom anyway?
That is a good question. And first of all, thanks for having me here. And to answer that, I'm going to give you a few examples. First off is PBL or project based learning, where we had a project where students designed their ideal society. They had to think about the laws, the values, or what it meant to live there. It helped them think about their own beliefs and what matters most to them. Second example would be the open-ended discussions. We often have conversations about big questions like the meaning of life, or what it means to be good, or what it means to be a good citizen, basically, and I don't give them answers. I encourage them to explore their own thoughts and perspectives. As for the last example, I could give you like reflective writing, where I ask my students to write about their experiences and how those experiences shape their their values. It's a powerful way to help them connect with themselves and understand their own journey.
Now, Miss Arline, here is my question to you. So, Miss Arline, as a student, can you share to us your experience with the project based learning activity that made them think or made you think differently about the world that mentioned by Sir Ivan?
Mm, okay. So I think for this one is one personal experience I had when or with project based learning was during a community service project in college. Yes. Um, we were tasked with developing a sustainable plan for a local neighborhood that was struggling with the waste management. So, as part of the project, we interviewed residents, researched eco-friendly solutions, and collaborative with uh, local government officials to create a practical plan during that time. And what made me think differently about the word after that was seeing firsthand how small actions could make a big impact when communities work together, just like what happened during those times. And it wasn't just about coming up with the solution. It was about understanding the people's need, challenges, and how to involve them in the process. And this experience really opened my eyes to the importance of collaboration, sustainability, and how local communities can drive change.
Wow. Thank you, Miss Arline, for sharing your experience again. Next question is for Teacher Ivan. So, Teacher Ivan, as a teacher, teaching these big ideas must be challenging to you. Now, how do you handle the situation or sometimes that students asking a difficult question or moment that you encounter students that asking a very hard question?
We educators or teachers create a safe space for discussion, emphasizing the active listening, the empathy, encouraging respectful dialogue, and not being afraid of uncertainty.
Thank you, Sir Dave. Now, let's ask Miss Arline to share a time when they felt challenged or confused by existentiality and how their teacher helped them.
Experience with this, okay, I had an experience in high school where I become really confused by an existential concept that we were discussing in, I don't know if it's philosophy class like that, but It is more about whether life has inherent meaning or if we create our own meaning. So during that time, I was really struggling with the idea that there might be no greater purpose to existence beyond what we give it. And during those times, it felt overwhelming for me and unsettling, and I couldn't reconcile it with my own beliefs at the time. But I remember my teacher noticed that I was having a hard time to took the time to speak with me one on one after class. So instead of giving a direct answer, she encouraged me to explore more like that and explore different perspective and provide me with the readings from various philosophers from existentialist no existentialist like Sartre to thinkers like Viktor Frankl, who talked about finding meaning in sufferings and personal responsibilities. And I remember during that time, she helped me understand that questioning meaning was part of the human experience and that it was okay not to have all the answers right away. And during those times, I remember that her approach shifted my mindset rather than feeling lost. I began to see that the search for meaning was ongoing and that it was okay to take it one step at a time. So that's my experience during those times.
Yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that student is comfortable when asking questions. Now, Miss Jasmine, what is your advice for the teacher who are new to this idea of exploring existentialism in their classroom?
Before we will end, I would like to share something with the educators out there. So we have two important things. The first one is the building the trust, and the second one is the open-mindedness. So for that, for the building of trust, of course, how you build the trust. So building a trust is something you have to make sure the students are safe, can open up their feelings, emotion, and their thoughts, so that the students can feel comfortable. For the second one is the open-mindedness. So for the open-mindedness, we have to let the students answer on their own, and then they have to be reckless for them to learn. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for inviting me here, PCMC.
Well, it's been a great conversation, everyone. Thank you, Miss Arline Bahas, Miss Jasmine Glory, and Mr. Ivan Dave Faustino for sharing your wisdom and insight. Remember, it is okay to ask big question and it's important to find your own answer. Again, I am Mcjaylord Evangelista. Thank you for watching. Bye!